Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I obviously defend anyone's right of self-defense or to self-defense, but also there are rules in applying this right, which is I will defend myself, but still I can't do anything I want in the name of self-defense, unless I don't give a shit and I do it nevertheless. We have here a situation, I think, where this country, which is Poland, exposes itself, or at least tries to put itself in a situation where could be attacked or hit by the Russians, and then immediately claim self-defense. Therefore, we're going to intervene. Which, as I said many times before, Russia will have no patience with the Poles regarding nuclear weapons use. That's my assessment of that. So, for instance, if you go to a bar, let's say at about 1 a.m., and you go with an attractive woman, and you go to a very, very bad bar, you should expect to be, put in a situation, or you put yourself in a situation where you have to defend yourself and her from some thugs' attacks or comments. So you can claim, yes, I'm going to go to the bar and I'm going to wait to be challenged and I'm going to jump those guys. That's the way I feel fit. But it doesn't mean you should not or you can't go to the bar. The problem is, that if you go to the bar, most likely with the attractive woman, the chances are very, very high that you will be attacked. She will be attacked, you will be attacked. So you want to do that? Go ahead, do it. But then when you say self-defense, and while you're self-defense, you pull up a gun in a bar. And then you say, well, I'm in self-defense right here. Well, didn't you put yourself in a situation? It was nothing illegal. You went over there. You have the right. But be mindful. So this is the way I kind of see this situation with Poland. Poland has the right to self-defense, 100%. So let's start with this article coming from Ukraińska Pravda. Poland put its aircraft on alert during Russian missile attack on January 13th. So the Russians conducted a massive missile and drone attack today, Saturday, with about 40 missiles, Kinzhals and Iskander-M, S-300s, S-400s, and drones. The Poles seem to overreact, I would say, but it's their prerogative. They do whatever they want on their territory. Only the Russians can't do whatever they want on their territory. Why? Because they say so. So they obviously got their aircraft on alert. Why? Because they claim that an object, they didn't provide evidence to say it was Russian, they just said it was Russian, entered their territory during the last missile attack. I think it was a few days ago, the Russian missile attack on Ukraine, entered Polish and violated the airspace of Poland, and then got out for about 5 minutes. It was, or 3 minutes. Now a missile 3 minutes can go deep and come out. Nevertheless, I didn't know whose that missile was. They say it was Russians because it was convenient, politically convenient. Now they said, well, it came the missile, we have to do now this, and we warned the Russians. The Russians said, we're not going to comment on that until you provide evidence that it was our missile. But they didn't apply the same rule when a Ukrainian missile, knowing that's proven, entered, if you remember, last year, violated Poland's airspace, entered the country, hit two Polish people just driving in a truck with their little corn in the trailer, and killed them. So the Ukrainians killed two Poles with their missile in self-defense against the Russians, which I don't think that was an accident. I don't think so. And when I explain that, why, try to just launch a missile somewhere in the village, in the countryside, and you're going to hit exactly on a field, two guys in the same truck, a moving truck. No, I don't think that was a coincidence. I mean, it's like, I don't know, you just get an arrow, shoot up, and you hope when it goes down, it's going to hit a deer. Really? Not really. Okay, so forget about it. But the Poles did not act the same way when the Ukrainians
killed that, which was even worse than the 3 minutes missile that they could not prove as of now. I don't have the information. They didn't prove they provide the information it was a Russian missile. And even if it was, those guys killed 2 of your people, and these guys did not. But hey, for the Russians, we're gonna get up. No, it's true that the Poles will defend their territory and the people, regardless who enters the territory. But they reacted only to the Russians, not to the Ukrainians. They, if you remember, they summoned the Russian attaché in Poland, in Warsaw, and say, "What are you doing?" And the guy said, "Prove first it was us, and then we're talking. Bye-bye." And the Poles were like, "What are we gonna do now?" Oh, keep talking. They didn't do this. They did not do the same thing with the Ukrainians. That tells me double standard. Bye-bye. I lost, how should I put it, trust in your justice or judgment. Poland put its aviation on alert in response to Russia's missile attack on Ukraine territory on the morning of 13th of January. Totally legitimate. Polish and Allied aircraft, which is occupation forces, were deployed in response to the increased activity of the Russian Federation's long-range aviation associated with the intention to strike at the territory of Ukraine. Due to the quote-unquote necessary procedures to ensure the safety of Polish airspace, residents of the country, particularly in the southeast, were warned of an increase in noise levels. After some time, due to the decrease in the threat level, Polish and Allied aircraft, that is occupation troops, returned to standard operations. Why are there occupation troops? Because there's no Polish troops in the United States of America, or in Germany, or in Great Britain, or wherever those Allied aircraft might come from. That's why. The Polish, and don't tell me about, oh, we have to defend the Eastern Front. Nobody defends the Western Front of the, or flank of NATO, on California, Oregon, or the state of Washington. Yeah, exactly. And I'm quoting, the Polish army is constantly monitoring the situation in Ukraine and remains in constant readiness to ensure the safety of Polish airspace. Yeah, that's very good. Very good. And now here, background. On December 29th, the Polish General Staff announced that a Russian missile had violated the country's airspace. The Polish military found that the missile flew 40 kilometers into Poland and returned to Ukraine 3 minutes later. On the night of 12 or 13 January, the Russians launched a missile attack on Ukraine using 40 targets. They don't talk about the Ukrainian one. Why? No justice. So if you're not just, I don't give a fuck what you're saying. Got that? All right, so blah, 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 tra-la-la. Again, they say it was a Russian. How? The trajectory. And besides, let me show you the map to see where Poland is and where the war occurs. It doesn't mean you should not be ready. I'm not saying that. But you didn't react the same way to the other guys. And they're not your allies. That's a different country. You have nothing with the Russians. You have nothing with the other ones. You're outside of it. But you treat these guys in a way and the other guys differently. Why? Because you don't like those guys. And you don't like both, actually. But in this case, you don't like the Russians because the Russians can smack you. The Ukrainians can't. So here is Poland right here. And this is Ukraine right here. And the Russians obviously fight over there. Now, it doesn't mean that the Russians do not hit Lviv or Lutsk in this area. They did before. So it's not, oh my God. But these guys were on alert right here when everything was here. Don't they know that? They know that. I mean, I covered that a minute ago from the Russian perspective and from the Ukrainian perspective. No missile went further than this, than Vinnytsia, right here. And they got ready. That's good. I mean, you can do that, but if you know that Russian missile entered, it was Russian entering for 3 minutes, you did not know that the missile did not cross this, you didn't monitor it with your American guys, because they are monitoring, not you. You don't have the capability. What are you talking about? You don't have it. They have the satellites, do you? If they allow you to use them. I never heard that Poland has a military satellite out there. Do they? Maybe they do. But I don't think the masters will allow them. They don't have shit, so they have to go to the Americans and other areas. So, hey, if anything I said is not true, then you point it out. If you don't like what I said, it's a different story, which I don't give a fuck. If you don't like. Because, as one of some other people's friends says, facts don't care about your feelings. The same here. Right to self-defense, 100%. Overreaction and how do you call that, selective outrage and selective justice, 100%. Am I for it? No. So thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart. But think about this one. What if one of these missiles will hit one of your planes? Then what? On your territory. And how do I know your planes are on your territory? How do I know your planes are not actually fighting on the Ukrainian territory? Yeah, because you say so, right? But the Russians say something, they're lying. When these guys say something, it's 100% truth. So we have to jump through this garbage, both sides, all sides, because they all lie. But how do you verify that? I'm not over there. I'm not, okay, let's see who's who, what's what. I have to go through different articles and different pieces of information to figure out who's who, what's what. And sometimes, you say certain things, or I analyze it in a certain way, but I understand what the polls are doing. Why? Because you can compare. You have the information over there. You reacted 0 towards those guys that killed 2 of your people, but all of a sudden, oh my God, the Russians. I understand if you protect your own country, 100%. Smack whomever comes in, regardless of who that is. But I don't think it's like that. It doesn't mean that you're going to leave the Ukrainian missiles kill your people, right? No. But a little bit of more outrage, regardless who the perpetrator is. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.